The ceremonial blade stopped 3 centimeters from my throat, and in that moment I understood 2 things. The Valkyries never forgave defiance, and I would not kneel, even if it cost me my blood before the eternal throne. Subscribe if you want to see how a chained gift becomes a chosen bond. Marcus Cole stood alone in the center of the Grand Hall of Valkyrie Prime. The hall was vast, larger than any human city square he had ever seen. Crystal pillars rose like frozen lightning toward a ceiling that glowed with soft violet light. Every surface reflected power, age, and wealth beyond imagination. This was the heart of the Valkyrie Empire, a civilization that had ruled the stars for tens of thousands of years. And Marcus did not belong here. He was human. A junior diplomatic aide. A replacement. 3 hours ago, Ambassador Chen had collapsed in his chambers after a sudden neural shock caused by a small atmospheric imbalance. It had been an accident, at least officially. With no time to prepare and no one else available, Marcus had been ordered to take his place before the eternal throne. Now he stood facing death. A ceremonial blade hovered just inches from his throat. The metal shimmered with alien runes, humming softly with contained energy. One small movement, one command, and his life would end on the cold marble floor. Around him, the noble Valkyries watched in silence. They were tall, elegant, and terrifying. Their skin ranged from pale silver to deep violet. Their eyes glowed faintly, filled with centuries of pride. These beings had conquered systems before humans had learned to write. Marcus felt his heart pound against his ribs, but his spine remained straight. Lord Ketheron stood before him, arm extended, holding the blade. His pale violet skin had darkened with anger. This human dares to stand before the eternal throne without kneeling? Ketheron's voice echoed through the hall, sharp with disgust. On Valkyrie Prime, such disrespect is paid for in blood. Marcus swallowed slowly. 3 years as a diplomatic aide had taught him one thing very clearly: weakness was fatal. Fear was an invitation. He forced his voice to stay calm. Ambassador Chen was informed that humans are exempt from the ritual of prostration, Marcus said. I act in his place, and I claim the same courtesy. A ripple of murmurs spread through the hall. Ketheron laughed. It was a harsh, cruel sound. A species that can barely manage interstellar travel believes it can interpret Valkyrie law? The blade moved closer. Marcus felt heat on his skin. A thin line of pain followed, and he knew blood had been drawn. He did not move. Inside his mind, memories flashed. His mother dying on a colony ship that never reached its destination. His father working himself to death in the lithium mines of Europa so Marcus could study. Every human sacrifice that had carried their species from one fragile planet to the stars. He would not dishonor them. If my blood is the price of human dignity, Marcus said quietly, then take it. For the first time, Ketheron hesitated. Surprise flickered across the noble's face, followed by something darker, anticipation. He pulled his arm back, preparing to strike. Sufficient. The word hit the hall like a physical force. The crystal pillars vibrated, filling the air with deep harmonic tones that made Marcus's teeth ache. Every Valkyrie in the chamber dropped to their knees instantly, including Lord Ketheron. His blade fell from his hand and clattered across the marble floor. Marcus turned slowly toward the source of the voice. She descended from the elevated throne platform with measured steps. With each movement, the light in the hall seemed to bend toward her, as if the space itself recognized her authority. Queen Seraphiel of the Valkyrie Empire. She was taller than any Valkyrie Marcus had seen, nearly 2.5 meters. Her skin shone like polished silver, glowing faintly from within. Her eyes shifted between deep violet and burning gold, holding the weight of countless years. A crown of crystallized starlight rested upon her brow. But it was not her beauty that stole Marcus's breath. It was the loneliness in her eyes. A deep, aching loneliness he recognized, because he saw it every morning in his own reflection. Lord Ketheron, the queen said, her voice calm but carrying to every corner of the hall. You would spill blood in my court without my permission. Majesty, Ketheron stammered. The human. I saw what the human did, Seraphiel said, approaching. The nobles parted before her like waves before a ship. He stood when any sensible being would kneel. He chose death over dishonor. She stopped in front of Marcus. Up close, she seemed ancient. Her eyes looked like they had watched stars be born and die. And yet, there was something almost young in her expression. Curious. Vulnerable. "What is your name, human?" she asked. "Marcus Cole," he replied, bowing his head slightly, but not kneeling. "Your Majesty." "Marcus Cole," she repeated. His name sounded different in her voice, like music. "Do you know what you have done?" Marcus hesitated. "Offended your court, apparently." A faint expression crossed her face, something between amusement and approval. "You have done something no one has done in 300 years, she said. "You showed me courage." Then, before the entire assembled court, nobles, warriors, priests, and diplomats from dozens of worlds, Queen Seraphiel pulled the human into her arms. Silence filled the hall. Her embrace was warm and cool at the same time, like starlight and shadow together. She smelled of something strange and intoxicating, like night-blooming flowers and charged air. "This human is under my personal protection," the queen announced. "Any who harm him will answer directly to me." When she released him, Marcus saw something unexpected on the faces of the kneeling nobles. Fear, not of him, but of what the queen's action meant. Lord Ketheron's face had gone pale with shock and barely hidden rage. Seraphiel's hand remained on Marcus's arm, steady and reassuring. "Come," she said softly. "We have much to discuss." As she led him from the grand hall, Marcus felt hundreds of hostile eyes burning into his back. He had entered as a nobody, a temporary stand-in for a dying ambassador of a lesser species. He was leaving as something else entirely, and he had no idea whether that was a blessing or a death sentence. Marcus Cole did not sleep that night. The guest chambers given to him were larger than his entire apartment on Earth. The walls were made of living crystal, glowing softly in colors that shifted with his breathing. The bed shaped itself to his body, adjusting to human weight and heat. Everything was designed for comfort. None of it eased his mind. He stood near the wide balcony, looking out at Valkyrie Prime. The planet glimmered with impossible beauty, floating structures, slow-moving light streams in the sky, and distant towers rising like sculptures made by gods. He was alive only because the queen had chosen him. And that choice had made him dangerous. A soft sound came from behind him. "You may breathe normally here." Marcus turned. Queen Seraphiel stood in the doorway, alone. No guards. No attendants. She wore simple robes now, dark and flowing, nothing like the heavy ceremonial clothing of the throne. Without the crown, she looked less like a ruler and more like a woman carrying a very old weight. "The atmosphere has been adjusted for human biology," she continued. "You were expecting a human guest?" Marcus asked. "I was expecting one," she said. She moved into the room, and the walls dimmed slightly, as if giving her privacy. She gestured toward a crystal bench near the balcony. "Please," she said. "Sit. I imagine you have questions." Marcus had hundreds. He chose the most important. "Ambassador Chin," he asked. "Will he live?" "Yes," Seraphiel replied at once. "I assigned my personal physicians to him. The atmospheric imbalance was not an accident. Those responsible will be dealt with." Marcus studied her face. He was surprised by his own calm. "You don't seem shocked," she said. "I've been on Valkyrie Prime for 3 months," Marcus answered. "I've seen how some of your people look at humans. We are inconvenient." Seraphiel gave a small, honest smile. "You understand more than most of your kind. And more than many of mine." She sat across from him, folding her long hands together. For a moment, the queen's mask slipped. Beneath it, Marcus saw exhaustion. "Do you know why I brought you here?" she asked. "I have theories," Marcus said. "None of them make sense." "Tell me anyway." He took a careful breath. "You are alone," he said. "A queen is always alone. But this is different. Your court does not just respect you. They fear you. They calculate around you. They do not love you." Seraphiel's breath caught, just slightly. "Continue," she said. You have ruled too long to be seen as a person, Marcus said. Only a symbol. When I refused to kneel, I wasn't trying to be brave. I was just being myself. Silence filled the room. The crystal walls pulsed softly, like a slow heartbeat. 742 years, Seraphiel said at last. That is how long I have sat on the eternal throne. Marcus said nothing. My mother ruled for 3,000 years before me, she continued. And her mother before her. We live long lives. You already know this. Yes, Marcus said quietly. Longevity is not a blessing, she said. It is a burden. He met her shifting eyes. Humans burn quickly, she went on. You love fiercely. You suffer deeply. Then you are gone. To us, you are like shooting stars, beautiful but impossible to hold. Is that why your people despise us? Marcus asked. In part, she replied. But mostly because you frighten them. She leaned forward. Do you know what the Valkyrie fear most? She asked. Death. Marcus guessed. Seraphiel shook her head. Irrelevance. She stood and walked toward a stream of liquid silver flowing through the chamber. She dipped her fingers into it, sending ripples of light across the surface. We have ruled this region for 50,000 years, she said. We believed we understood the universe. And then humanity appeared. Marcus waited. A species that went from riding animals to splitting atoms in a cosmic instant, she said. A species that should have destroyed itself, but didn't. A species that looks at the impossible and says, let us try anyway. She turned back to him, eyes glowing gold. My council wants to limit your people, she said. They sabotage your diplomats. They deny technology exchanges. They mock your culture. And you? Marcus asked. I see what they do not, Seraphiel said. Humanity is not our enemy. She paused. Humanity is our mirror. Marcus felt a chill. You remind us of what we forgot how to be, she said softly. Hopeful. Passionate. Willing to risk everything for belief. She stepped closer. You looked into my eyes and saw my loneliness, she said. No one has done that in 300 years. Not since. Marcus asked. Her expression darkened. My bond partner, she said. My husband in your terms. He died 400 years ago in the peripheral wars. I'm sorry, Marcus said. He was the last one who saw Seraphiel, she said. Not the queen. Without thinking, Marcus reached out and took her hand. She froze. Her skin was cool and smooth, like polished stone. Beneath it he felt a fast, unsteady pulse. I want something, Marcus said honestly. Her eyes searched his. I want Ambassador Chin to recover, he said. I want my people treated fairly. And I want to understand why you chose me. That is all? She asked. Marcus hesitated. He looked at their joined hands. No, he said. I also want to know what it would take to make you smile. Not the diplomatic mask. A real smile. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her lips curved slightly. Just enough. Her eyes flared gold. You are either very brave, Seraphiel said, or very foolish. Probably both, Marcus replied. She laughed softly, surprised by the sound. Stay, she said. Not as a prisoner. Not as a guest. As a friend. She squeezed his hand gently. Teach me what I forgot, she said. And in return, I will protect your people. Not from above, but beside them. As equals. Marcus should have contacted Earth. He should have considered the danger. Instead, he answered with the truth. I would like that, he said. And somewhere deep in the palace, something ancient began to change. They came from Marcus Cole in the middle of the night. The palace lights dimmed without warning. The soft hum of crystal walls fell silent. Marcus woke with a sharp sense of danger, the same instinct that had kept humans alive long before they reached the stars. His door dissolved into fragments of dark crystal. Valkyrie soldiers stormed in, tall and armored, their ceremonial blades replaced with pulse rifles. Their faces were cold, trained, and certain. The human comes with us, said a familiar voice. Lord Ketheron stepped forward, his expression calm and satisfied. By order of the High Council, he continued, Queen Seraphiel has been temporarily restrained. For the good of the Empire. Marcus's heart dropped. You drugged her, Marcus said. It was not a question. Ketheron smiled thinly. A mild toxin. It will keep her obedient while we correct her recent mistakes. They dragged Marcus through parts of the palace he had never seen. The crystal here was dark and dull, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. The air felt heavy, ancient, and hostile. They threw him into a wide chamber filled with Valkyrie nobles. At the center stood an old woman with deep violet skin and eyes like frozen stars. Great Matriarch Velthera, Ketheron announced. I present the human contamination. Velthera studied Marcus as if he were a broken object. This is what has weakened our queen, she said calmly. I expected more. Marcus wiped blood from his lip and stood. Sorry to disappoint. Ketheron struck him across the face, sending him to the floor. You will show respect, Ketheron hissed. You poisoned your own granddaughter, Marcus said, spitting blood. Forgive me if respect feels difficult. Velthera's eyes narrowed slightly. She told you much, Velthera said. Enough to make you dangerous. Enough to tell me you never forgave her for taking the throne instead of your son, Marcus replied. For the first time, Velthera reacted. Her jaw tightened. My son would have kept our people pure, Velthera said. Strong. Seraphiel allows weakness. Emotion. Humanity. She allows growth, Marcus said. Velthera stepped closer. She will outlive you, Velthera said quietly. In decades you will be dust. And she will be left with grief. We are saving her. Marcus hesitated. The truth hurt because it was real. He would die. She would live for centuries more. Velthera saw doubt flicker in his eyes. Leave tonight, she said. Return to Earth. We will tell Seraphiel you left on your own. She will suffer, but she will heal. Marcus closed his eyes. He saw Seraphiel's smile in the garden. Heard the way she said his name, like it mattered. No, he said. Velthera blinked. No. I will not leave, Marcus said. And I will not disappear quietly. She knows me. She would never believe I abandoned her. Then you choose death, Velthera said. I choose her, Marcus replied. Velthera turned to Ketheron. Kill him. Make it look like an accident. Ketheron raised his blade. And the wall exploded in light. Brilliant power flooded the chamber. Crystal shattered. Air burned. Queen Seraphiel stepped through the breach. She was no longer restrained. She was fury. Her skin glowed like a captured sun. Her eyes were twin supernovas. The air around her cracked with energy. Grandmother, she said. The word shook the chamber. Every noble fell to their knees. Even Velthera. You poisoned me, Seraphiel said. You kidnapped my chosen. You planned to murder him. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with pain. Because we love you, Velthera said. Because we protect you. Love does not cage, Seraphiel said. Love does not murder. She turned to Marcus, her power softening. Are you hurt? I've had worse, Marcus said weakly. She almost smiled. Then she faced the council again. I know he will die, Seraphiel said, tears forming. I know I will suffer. But pain is the price of love. And I am done refusing to pay it. She held out her hand to Marcus. I offer you my throne, she said. My burden. My eternity. Will you accept, knowing you are temporary? Marcus took her hand. I am not afraid of being temporary, he said. I am afraid of wasting the time I have. She pulled him close and kissed him. The chamber fell silent. Remove them, Seraphiel commanded. The conspirators were taken away. Months later, the Union of Stars was announced. The wedding was broadcast across 1,000 worlds. Humans cried. Valkyries watched in awe. Marcus stood beside Seraphiel beneath a cathedral of crystal and light. When the eternal crystal accepted their bond, even the priests gasped. The empire changed. Treaties were signed. Technology was shared. Humanity was no longer small. They called it the Cole effect. Decades later, When Marcus's life came to an end, Seraphiel held his hand. "I will find you again," she whispered. And across the stars, history remembered one truth. It all began because a human refused to kneel.